Welcome to the Hot Mess Cosmic Express, where we talk about the stars, shuffle a few cards, and never pretend to have our shit together.
Okay.
All right. So Tracy, I'm gonna share with you a deep dark secret. I can't remember why we were talking about this. Why were we talking about this? I don't remember.
Oh, we were talking about all kinds of. Anyways, just go into
We're
it.
talking about dark things in our chart, right? So I
That's
can't
right.
remember, but I told her I was going to share something with her. So this is my 1-year diary, everybody out there, and I would like for you all to know. You can see here, there's my information. So you can see from the handwriting, this is perhaps a very old diary. And you're right. Hold, please. Just to give you an idea, we were talking about how we are, right? And craziness, and how if put it this way, this is what we were talking about, was that if I would have known then what I know now about astrology, rather than, I was checking my horoscope in the National Enquirer or whatever, but I was
Right.
number one checking my sun sign, not my rising sign. Wish I would have known that. But if I would have known, then some of the stuff I was doing, I would have been like, oh, okay. Now I kind of understand why I might have done that, rather than being like, what in the world was wrong with you? So just so you know, I had to put my glasses on because I just want you to see how tiny I have written. So you see how little these things are. Okay.
It's hard to focus, but yeah.
Oh, it's very hard to focus, but it's also very tiny. So I understand. So I just want to read to you what I wrote as my New Year's resolutions for January the 1st, 1990. Apparently it was a Monday. I like to write the dates up there. Don't ask. Here
So we
go.
were juniors.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, we graduated in 91. Well,
Okay,
that was in senior year.
That might make this even worse. Okay.
No, wait a minute. You said 1990?
Yeah.
We were. It was the second semester of our junior year, because that would have been around. Yeah. So you were a junior.
Okay. Well, I did very tiny at the top. I wrote down right up there 3 little resolutions, and I just want to share to you what back then, 1990 Darcy, I was younger. The 3 things I wanted to do. Number 1.
I'm still listening. I'm still here.
You can hear this? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you. Keep going.
It's kind of hard to read because so I have to be careful because I did write this all in pencil, which I think is really awesome because it's here. So number 1, I wanted to lose 10 to 15 pounds. Okay. So weight loss goals, not quite sure where I was at then, but that was something that I, obviously health-centered goals. Okay. So probably should have been more like healthy. Which leads us to resolution number 2 for 1990 Darcy, which was to have a good self-image. Okay. So look, already looking for self-improvement. Now I'd like to flash forward to number 3, and it's written so small. Only to sleep with my real boyfriend. And I underlined, it's right here. Hang on, I don't know if you can see. I underlined real. Yes, that was it. So I wanted to lose 10 to 15 pounds. I wanted to have a good self-image. And I only wanted to sleep with my real boyfriend. Now, we could probably dive really deep into this really tiny print and figure out just what was inside Darcy's mind there. But it seems like there's a lot of Sag and a little bit. Well, but to be honest, I'm going to be honest. We talked about this with Virgos. I'm sorry, but Virgos tend to be dark, freaky fuckers. And I'm one of them. And I will let my freak flag fly. And I'm not afraid. Oh my God, that's so funny. You know what else I found in this is a sign that says, touch this thermostat and you will wake up tomorrow without your right arm. Is my handwriting. But But when I read the things in here, it's like, wow, I haven't really dug through there, but I'm sure like some of the heartbreak, again, this is pretty much, it's supposed to be a 1-year diary. It does appear to be from 1990. Oh my gosh. I have all kinds of people's phone numbers in here.
Well, that's what I
Wow.
was
Okay.
hunting for because I've always did a diary.
See,
I can't find that. I was hunting for my earlier ones. The earliest one I could find right now would have been from February '92 through August
oh,
of '94,
well,
and my little
I love it. See, I just keep this was honestly, so to be honest, this is the last one, only one I ever kept because my mom, while I was in the shower, got it out and read it and
uh-huh.
then confronted me about everything that she read in it. And it pretty much ruined my trust in a whole lot of things, including the fact that, basically it let me know that writing down your thoughts could be pretty incriminating because literally she
Right.
read.
You weren't safe
Oh,
to
I
do
was on
that.
trial. I was literally on trial for my personal thoughts. And I honestly have never kept a journal ever since. I mean, and if you, I was really tiny writing and I was big into it and I love to write. But, and then I will be 100% honest. I've had similar issues with my current husband and we've gotten over that. But in the very early days of our marriage, he had some serious trust issues and he was digging through my shit. And it was like, no. So again, it's just one of those things but I think this is like the last documented where I truly stuck with it and did it. So I admire you for doing
I
that.
have
I
so
just
many.
can't seem to get back into it that much.
I think the reason I did it was one, my Gemini moon. That I mean, this totally explains my Gemini moon. I mean, Gemini is communication, writing. I
Right.
mean, that's I was a journalism and English major. I mean, that totally fits with what I was
Oh,
doing.
Tracy,
So,
I didn't think about that. Or I
yeah,
mean, I know we've talked about that, but oh my gosh. Yes, because we were both on the radio. We both did radio, right?
yeah.
Don't you?
Which is
But
funny
oh my
now
gosh.
because I quit radio because I didn't think I could do it, and then now I sit here and let people see me and talk. So that's
Isn't
hilarious.
it funny? Look at how much you've grown, girl. Look at that. I
Um,
love it.
well,
I'm getting,
I had what do they call it? I still have it. I just have grown to where I can be better at. I have problems pronouncing words, and so like when
right.
I want to say lisp, and that's not what it is. I can't think of what it's called, but
Tongue
when I was
tied.
little, a what?
Tongue tied.
No, because that's where you have the thing underneath that they need to like.
Right. You're free.
I mean,
You're a little bitty.
no,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I definitely don't have that. But it's
Like,
where like words like that. I had a friend named Heather, and I couldn't say Heather. I said heifer because I couldn't pronounce the th. I
the
did it like an
TH.
f. I did it like
You
an
were
f.
supposed to be from England. You were supposed to be
And maybe that's
Tracy.
what
You were
it is.
Tracy,
I was
honey.
Irish, so
See again. Let's check out your chart. Maybe you have like a chart that corresponds with like London or something, and you were supposed to be with Heather.
yeah,
Heather, what are you
exactly,
doing?
exactly. I was supposed to have a British accent, and that's the whole. I had problems with s's. I had to
See?
go to speech therapy to learn how to pronounce s's correctly. So I think there's always been this like insecurity because of that because I'm afraid to not be able to pronounce things, and
I get
so
that. And
I've always struggled throughout my life with like being a like when I was in grade school, I graduated. By sixth grade, I was doing morning announcements, so that made me feel really
oh,
good
really?
because
That's awesome. I always
yeah,
wanted
I
to
was
do
able to do that.
announcements. I really did.
It was a lot. It was a lot of fun. I used to do like trivia questions,
That'd be
so that
I
was
was even jealous of the kindergartners last year when they would go they go down to do the thing the morning, they do the morning announcements. I'm like, I want to do the morning announcements. When I worked at the bank, I wanted to work the drive-through and I was
I
always the
like
drive-through girl.
that
Always the
when I
drive-through
worked
girl.
at the bank for 20 almost 30 years. That was my favorite thing when I was a teller was doing that. I did
Yep.
not want to be face to face. I wanted to be on the drive through so I could turn you off.
I
You
was
start
just
yelling.
I was just, I don't know. I had this thing. I mean, everywhere it was Long John Silver's, Hardee's, the bank. I mean, I always wanted to be just the drive. It had some, I don't know if it was the microphone. I don't know. But I just always had my regulars. And I don't know, maybe it was because there was a, wow, we could get real deep on that. Maybe it was because I didn't have to interact directly with people. It was more along the lines of I could interact with them, but not have to be face to face. That's
Well,
really
that,
deep.
and we both have Jupiter and Aquarius in the third house. So we are all about, community. We have something to say. So
Big, big
it was
communication
us
goals.
trying to figure out what that was and where that was.
It's yes. And well, and now that I know that it's there, to the whole point about the diary. So I think it's just interesting when you kind of go back and you look at that. And when we talked about like what, if I knew then, or if I knew now, shit.
If I knew then what I know now.
Thank you. What was that again? What is it again? What is it?
If
If
I
I
knew
knew,
then what I know now,
if I
then your path would have been maybe a little easier.
right. I mean, and even if that, maybe I would have understood a little bit more like my mother, who was a Capricorn, why
Right.
she had like those high expectations and, I would have understood some, some of that. Um, yeah. So it's really, really interesting. If I knew then what I know now, I said
You got it.
I did it. Yes, I did it. Yeah, I think that's just something fun. So I'd be interested to know from just the listeners out there, like what they know now about themselves that they wish they would have known back then, right? Or before something big. I wish I would
Yeah,
have
I
known
definitely, I,
like
I definitely
Sagittarius
agree.
rising. That I really wish I would have known about that Sagittarius rising. And I
My
wish I would have known about that Aries in my fifth house because I am one hell of a flirt. Hell of a flirt. And I'll tell you a little secret, another one, because I already just divulged the fact that I had obviously a problem sleeping with my real
a thing was
boyfriend.
sleeping with you.
Um, I love old men. Okay, so here's the thing. Something about like really old guy. I just come here, old timer, come here. I just love me some old men, and I love flirting with them. So a lot of times when they want volunteers for the like at the school, I'll tell them I want to work the concession stand because that's where I get to interact mostly with the old timers. I just love it because they're just so fun and I don't know, little kids and old people. I just love. I don't know what that is all about, Tracy. I don't know, but
That is
that's what
hilarious.
I wish I would have known then. That I was just that big flirt in me and the Sagittarius rising, because I'll be honest, I kept thinking I needed to be in a relationship or that, I should be in a relationship. And I'll be honest, as a Sagittarius, because it's even though it's a rising, right? Because it's one of those primary three, it's got a huge influence on your life. And as much as I wanted to be in a relationship, I was finding, and I'm pretty doggone sure if I read you things out of this diary, I should just create like a smut book because I know at one point I wrote something about weaving one of the DJs from WZPL into my sexual web. I know I wrote that. I know I wrote that back then. Like I didn't realize like that. But the whole thing was I like the chase, right? And I even wrote down, I don't know what it is about the chase, but then once I have them, I don't want them anymore.
Right,
Well,
right.
when you look at the Sagittarius rising, I
It's
mean, not
shooting
that
that
that makes,
arrow. You were shooting your arrow and then going and, chasing it. But then once that was done, you had to go off and chase another arrow.
right. Well,
It
because
wasn't
what happens is with everything, with every person, every job, they want to lasso themselves to me or
mhm.
to that Sagittarius energy. I always say, and it is a state of a fact, I have never, not once, ever interviewed for a job that I didn't get. Ever, ever. Once somebody meets me, they go. And I'm like, if I, including in relationships. And so because they would lasso and I thought, oh, I need to, once they'd pull me back, if I couldn't get out, then I have to deal with it. on
Right.
that end.
No.
And I did and that's really when I realized about the Sagittarius rising. I'm like, why is all I want to do fly? Whenever anything went bad, I'm like, that's it. I'm out. That's it. I'm done. I'm done. Marriage, whatever. I'm done. Bye. It's like,
Yep.
why is my first reaction just to shoot like a flaming arrow across the sky? And it caused so many just issues internally that if I would have known that that was how I was really coming across, I think I would have been more reflective on that's not really who you are, Darcy. The other people are seeing you for somebody different, and you are going to have to work harder because sorry, I thought Cosmo was trying to get in the closet because for whatever reason that now that I know that rising is so much stronger than that
Right.
earth sign, which my sun sign is an earth sign, right? So I'm chill and grounded. And so, it just, and fire and earth don't, they're not necessarily compatible. And we're going to talk
Right.
about that in another episode with the elements. But I just wish that I would have known that. And it just would have made things whole lot easier on myself. But yeah, that's my thing. So if anybody's got any comments, I would really like to hear about that because I think it'd be kind of fun to hear what people have to say about what you know now that you wish you would have known then. So
I know. I totally agree because, like, with the Sagittarius and being that, because Sagittarius is, you're learning, you're, traveling, it's fun, and you have a big heart because you want to love everybody.
everything's
And
big.
with
Jupiter.
me,
Jupiter makes
yeah,
everything big.
everything bigger. So, like, when I was younger and you meet somebody, I would instantly like I want to be your friend. I want to do everything I can for you. Like you're my best friend now. Like that kind of energy of like as soon as I meet you, you're like my best friend. I
Right.
absolutely love you, and I'll do anything for you. And how many times that I got hurt by that
That
because
loyalty.
I
Yep.
didn't understand that not everybody's like that. You can't be like that with everybody.
Yep.
That you do have to have a guard up. That would
Right.
have helped me. That would have been the thing that, like, not really realizing that there wasn't anything wrong with me. I just didn't understand that I operate differently than the majority of the people. So I need to be a little protective of myself because everybody is not being their honest self.
Right. And
That would have
that is a big thing. Yes. Because when that honeymoon phase is over, or when you really get to know somebody, that's when that rising sign fades away and
right.
you don't always know that. And so if you are not
That's a good
prepared
point.
for it,
Yeah.
and that was the problem that we had in my marriage, was that again, my husband fell in love with that Sagittarius rising. We met on match.com on February 14th of 2009. He proposed to me on February 14th of 2010, and we were married May 30th of 2010. Like he wanted to get a ring on it and do all of that. And
That
then
lasso.
yeah, exactly. And like everything else and everyone else, once I feel confined and I could never figure that out. I would always tell everybody once it's almost like a switch flipped, right? I'm like, I don't understand why I go from, even when we're not living together, but you're hanging out at my house every weekend, it's completely different. Once there's a switch. And I just didn't, it's like I understood that there was a switch, but I didn't understand why. And I also didn't understand why nobody else was fucking talking about it. But I knew that there were two different pieces to me. And I just, not that I thought there was something, I mean, I'm sure I thought something was wrong with me, but, just trying to figure out, through all the marriage counseling, whatever, and like, how do you turn that back on, that Sagittarius? Because I will give my husband credit. I'm a lot of fucking fun when I'm a Sagittarius rising. But outside of that, I am just, it's not what you think it is. It's
Right.
completely different. And I do to an extent kind of feel sorry for him because he fell in love with that. And when I tell him, and it's a thing, he's like, well, where is that? I'm like, it's gone. I mean, it's literally gone. And I don't know how to get it back, right? It is that fucked up. Now, mind you, when I used to go on Girlcation to Destin every year, and that week away, I was sending him sexy texts and boob shots and all these things. And he would always say, like, that's the girl I married. And then I would come home and be completely different. And it's really crazy. But I mean, I seriously, it is like black and white for me. And I cannot figure out how to bring that Sagittarius rising back into my house very often. I mean, I'm not a funny, laughy, like I'm all this animated stuff around here. That's not how I really am. I'm pretty quiet. I play with the cat a lot. I'm alone probably 95% of the time, and I'm just quiet. And it's completely different. And I just wish I could figure out a nice balance to it. It's just, but you would never know it. Tina, she might know it. My kids know it. My kids do not know my Sagittarius rising because they never see me out and about in like work settings. Like, have you ever seen your
Right.
kids in a work setting? I mean, it blow your mind because you're like,
Right.
oh, that didn't even look like my kid. Well, hell no, that's the rising sign, right? It's like, because
Right.
like my daughter, the Aquarius, the staring at me like this, the look. When I went to see her the first time teaching, I didn't realize this, but when I saw her, I thought, oh my God. I mean, she was commanding the whole room. I mean, these fourth graders were listening to her. I mean, I'd never seen my daughter that way. And then when I realized she was a Sagittarius rising, I'm like, oh my gosh,
That's
that's why she's totally different and she's great in front of a crowd, right? And then we had this big like family gathering here one time for Christmas, and everybody was supposed to do this game. So, and I'm a big one for, I will be the first one to get really loud and just bring everybody into order. And then I'll just start, let's get stuff done. Right. And so I did. I'm like, all right, everybody, here we go. And so, I mean, I had like 40 different people. I mean, I'm doing the whole thing. And when we got done, she was like, I've never seen you act that way. I mean, I couldn't believe how you just controlled that whole room. And I thought, Rihanna, I'm a fucking trainer. I mean, what do you think I do? I control rooms all the time. This is what I do.
right.
She doesn't know my rising sign. She
Right.
never, and
She
somehow
sees the
there I feel
Virgo
calm.
because
Yeah.
you had to be the mom. You had to be that
Yeah.
Virgo. Keeping things in order.
Yeah.
Because
Now the beautiful thing that I love, like I said, the finding out like that she's a Sagittarius, but in 2013, she and I both we got to go to Italy together. So it was like her trip for school or whatever. And we saved our pennies and we got to go. And there were 5 other kids that went with us, and one other mom, and we were white girl wasted for 11 days. Oh my God. It was so much fun. But because we're both Sagittarius rising, people had told us, and again, not following all of that then, didn't realize all of that then. I had several people tell me, good luck. This is you're gonna get bitten by the travel bug. You will never, ever, ever, ever want to stop traveling after this. And for the both of us, it's true. And it's just interesting because that's an integral part of Sagittarius. So,
yes.
but I didn't realize that then, so anyway, that's all I wanted to say, Tracy. That's all I
No,
have to
that's
say.
great.
So,
That is really very interesting. So yeah, if you want
one
to,
relationships too, right? Like you and Steve.
yes.
If you know the relation, the chart, what would are these
Oh,
things you would have
definitely.
known? Would it make things
When
easier?
I
I mean,
learned when I learned about his my husband is very strong in Taurus placements and Aries. I mean, his chart, he has like pretty much it's everything but his Mars and his Venus are in Taurus. He's a
and it
Gemini
comes across
rising.
quintessential Taurus. I mean, and to be honest, you never got to meet my ex-husband, Chris Steckler, but he is a spitting image of your husband. Short, stocky, foodie to the max, loud, fun, makes everybody laugh. It's seriously, I'm not joking. When you guys, yeah, I'm just like it's really,
Now that
really
you've
funny.
met my husband, he's a Gemini rising,
Okay,
a Taurus Sun, and then pretty much all the other planets are there except for Mars and Venus are in Aries.
so that's why he likes to
So
talk. He's a little chatty. Okay,
yeah, so
okay,
the Gemini, the chatty, you got the Taurus, the stubborn, and then you haven't seen him mad, but like when he gets mad, it is like we call it restaurant Steve
oh my God,
because when he worked in the restaurants, because of all the chaos, he'd come home and he would just be in a mood and like
right?
you just knew not to mess with him. he needed to decompress because if the boys messed with him, he would like snap in an instant. So we call it Restaurant Steve. But
I like
like,
that you give it a name. I like that.
so having that understanding that passion, because I mean he has Aries and Venus in the same sign, they're conjunct.
Right.
So like he can
Oh, they're
love,
conjunct.
they're conjunct
So
in Aries.
that means that they're on, that means that when they're conjunct, that means that they're usually within about 5 degrees, or they're just like right on top of
No,
each other, which means in
I'm
astrology,
pretty sure that they're like right there on each other.
yeah,
So like he
it's
can
stronger.
love you intensely, he can hate you. Like he can like
Wow.
go mad intensely. So it's like I understand where that passion comes from now, because
Right.
it can be like, there is no like, there's not a lot of middle ground. It is either he is really into it, or he is not at all. Like it's
All
because
or
of that.
nothing.
Right. And then
And
all of
see,
those
and
strong Taurus placements, all that
okay.
stubbornness, and like he's got a drive and wants to go, but it's this perfect, not a perfection because that's more Virgo, but he does want.
It's Venus, it's Venetian, right? So
Yes,
think about
yes,
Venus. It's the little details. It's
yes,
the flower, the sprig that's up there on top, or the garnish on the plate, right? It's,
yeah.
yeah, that's the Venetian
Garnish
influence.
on the
Yeah.
plate. That is perfect. You've seen the pictures I take of the
Oh my
food.
God.
Does it not explain?
Yes. Yes.
It's
Yep.
it's
Yep.
that little detail that he takes
Chocolate
with,
sprinkles, baby.
yeah,
Chocolate sprinkles.
yes, the clean plate, the white plate with all the food on it, so that it shows, yes, and yes, he that totally explained it. That,
It makes perfect sense. Yeah, it really, really
yeah,
does. And that's the thing, that, knowing that now, it's like, okay, well, I don't know. I guess it makes it more understanding, rather than being like, what's wrong with you? It's like, hey,
right,
listen, I know that this is going to go one way or another with you. So I'm just going to say it. And then you just kind of know that it's going to be that way. It's like we've talked about before. It's not a fight. It's a fact, right?
exactly.
It
It
helps
makes
you
you
to be
more
more understanding.
understanding. Yeah, because it's not like you think the person's just being a jackass, or
Bingo.
that they're being mean or doing something purposely to you. It's that it's in their
Chart.
DNA, part
It's,
of them, and they
yes.
they, they probably don't even realize they're doing it.
Or that
But
we can,
it's
or
just,
that we could look at their chart and go, that's why you're doing it. Or look at their chart and go, I bet you blah, 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 blah.
mhm,
And this is why. But
yep,
when you know that, it's just so much easier to again, like the whole thing when we talk about working with the moon is, it's all about emotions, and everything we do in life is about emotions. But most of the time we just emotionally just react, right? It's that fight or flight. We just do it. But really what we're all trying to do is learn how to emotionally and intelligently respond to things. And that
right.
by doing, the only way to do that is to get smart and have some knowledge behind you, right? So that's why we're
That
learning
is,
all of this. And
if
then,
everybody used their birth chart, like knew their birth chart, learned their birth chart
yes,
from a young age, so that they could, knew how they processed emotions, knew how, you know, felt comfortable within
yes.
themselves because of their chart. Can
Hey, it's
you
okay that
imagine?
you don't want to talk about your feelings. I see that in your chart, but you know what? Maybe you'd like to journal them just so you can get them out, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
People would be more emotionally, um, I don't want to say stable, but like,
intelligent,
thank
cognizant,
you. Thank you.
aware.
And but it would give you the empathy to be that with other people too. So then can you
Yes.
imagine, like, when you have those interactions that are, spicy, you're not doing it from that emotional like lash out stage. You're able to, like, okay, I'm feeling this way. This is why I'm starting to get upset, because I feel this,
Yep.
and I know I need to communicate it to you this way because I know you're this type of moon. Like, it could change the world
Yes.
literally, because
Yes.
people would deal with people differently.
Yes, because I'm learning that I explode with my communications. Not only do I say I've got big things for communications, but when there's something something that needs to be said, I tend to just boom, it just goes big, and it's so fast that I don't. Um, I don't know. It happens so quick that I don't take the time to think about it, kind of thing.
Right. Because you have something to say because of your, because of our Jupiter
Because
in
of
the
a whole
third
lot
house.
of things.
So we don't stop and think that everything that we have to say has to be said. So
Right.
at least me, I tend to say, especially when I was younger, I'd say things without thinking and not stopping and thinking of how it's going to affect somebody else if I say that the way I'm
Huh.
going to say it. So it's you have that need to say it, but it's learning, of course, the balance
Yeah.
of not what actually needs to be said and how it needs to be said so the message comes across.
And so here's what's crazy is that so when I was younger, I'm pretty sure still in elementary school, I started a newspaper in our neighborhood so that, and I remember interviewing people about the possibility of putting in a playground. Mind you, there was no newspaper. I was literally just going around interviewing people. Like I had I really don't understand what I was even doing, but I thought I was going to be this reporter, and people would actually sit down and talk to me and answer questions. Funniest thing. And that's before I was in sixth grade. And then in fifth grade, there was a play going on and I didn't have a part. So I convinced the music teacher to write me in a part where I was just a journalist that didn't have a speaking part, but I just stood in the back. And again, just had like a notebook where the whole thing was going on, but I was just standing on the back of the stage and I was acting like I was writing and taking notes the whole time. No reason, no reason whatsoever. So
What a great teacher to go ahead and write you in because
I
here's this
probably,
kid just wants to be a part of it. Let her.
well, the teachers, I was a horse of a different color with a lot of the teachers. And so it was like, not that I was a teacher's favorite, but I was just different. And it was, not that, I mean, and it just kind of rang through. Like I had that, I was on one of the English teachers. We got into a conversation one afternoon and somehow out of that conversation, I ended up on the brain triathlon team. Like, oh yeah, like the Bob Gregory thing, like the Bob Gregory, like that they used to be on TV with.
Yeah,
Yes,
I know what you're talking about.
yeah, I ended up on that one, and then the science, and then I ended up getting nominated to be a page at U.S. Congress, um, by Mr. Hartsock, and I'm like, no, no, it was absolutely insane. It was crazy. I tell you, it was fucked up, Tracy. I've had a lot of fun. And school was great. I mean, so to that point, I had tons of people trying to give me amazing opportunities
Right.
and from a
No,
very, very young age. And so I don't know if that helped. I don't know if that helped to build that. I really don't know because I was also an entrepreneur when I was younger. So I used to sell my candy to neighborhood kids instead of eating it because I wanted the money. Um, but the whole
I
writing,
used to have a club. I'd have like a girls' club and then charge. Oh my god!
are you
I used to
serious? Are you
totally.
think
Yeah, we had a membership fee.
you did? Oh, Tracy, tell. Oh, please do tell.
I don't remember it all, but when you said that, I was like, I remember that. I remember like us like having like meetings and like there was like it was like a quarter or like something like that, but we'd have like meetings and have a fee. So yeah. Oh my gosh.
Isn't that funny? The things you start remembering. See,
I
see. So
remember
even back then,
like
see.
my books, like I've always been into reading, writing, all of that, but I remember having books, and I remember I cannot tell you how many times I bought that state stamp, like how they do the library books, you have the date
Oh yeah,
stamp.
yeah, yeah.
I used to buy those all. I used to have an obsession with Hook's drugs, the
Oh
where you could go in because they had all the office supplies. That
yes,
was
yes.
always my favorite aisle.
And there was
Was
that smell. No, Drug
yes.
Emporium was my favorite, but Hook's Drugs with the office supplies, I did love that.
I think it's because that's what was close. Like that's what I tended to go in. But pretty
Oh
much
yeah.
any store, I always go down the office supplies. I have to look because I always was looking for notebooks, and I like when I go to spend the night with somebody, I always had to have a notebook because you never know when something was going to strike, and you had to write it down. So I always had that have that. I've always had this thing of like having to be prepared for things. So yeah, it's like
Okay. Okay. So hang on. We need to mark that for a conversation because that must be somewhere in our chart because I told you I'm a horse of a different color. But as a child, the only books I would check out from the library at the elementary school were like survivalist books. I would
I wonder if
sleep.
that is the Virgo in
I would
us, the
sleep fully
preparedness.
clothed. I still sleep. I still sleep. I will not sleep naked in case there's a fire or somebody comes in. I want to have clothes on. I've got to be prepared. I always have my car has always got a towel because you never go anywhere without your towel. I've got first aid kits. I mean, I have everything. But but it has gone. And when you said that, I'm like, that's got to be somewhere because I'm prepared in a different way, I guess. So you're prepared to write shit down.
But
I've
it
got a
wasn't
go
just
bag.
no.
Like right now, I've got a go bag that's filled with waterproof everything and every like medical supplies. And I mean, I got it. We're prepared.
The neighborhood I grew up in apartments, and the neighborhood was over on the east side, Three Fountains. It'd probably scare people now, but it's not a great side of the city anymore. But I love that area. I had so much fun with my friends and growing up in that area. But there was a bookmobile that would come to, and I would always go and check out books. And usually it was first aid. I was in like
Okay.
fourth
Okay.
grade checking out first aid, um, like survivalists, like living off the land, herbs. That's probably where I started getting into the witchy stuff because I wanted to know how to like do the herbs and
Yep.
you know
Yep. Well, you got to know
so
what's leaves of three, leave them
leave them
be.
be.
Okay. Now, how be a witch to know that? But as a human being, that is I should have had it on my fingernail here. She only put 2 leaves. I should have had her do 3 leaves. Leaves of three. No, that's got to be somewhere in our chart then, Tracy. All right. So anybody else out there in podcast land, if you happen to kind of share that same like survivalist or you're always prepared trait, just drop us a note and let us know like what your signs are or where your planets are at. Maybe there's something there,
Or
Tracy. That's
or even if it's just that you now that you've learned a little bit about your chart, or even if you've already known about your chart, if there's a placement or um, something in your chart that you're like, if I would have known this earlier in my life, this would have saved me or helped me in some way. Hop on over to Facebook on our group, the Hot Mess Cosmic Express,
yep.
and post about it.
Yeah, yeah, or drop a comment in Spotify. And by the
Yeah.
way, we love everybody who has given us a 5-star rating. We really appreciate everybody taking your time out to listen to us and to follow along. We do truly, truly love it. So if you have not already, just click on that follow button and then head on over to Spotify and give us a 5-star rating. We would really, really appreciate it. And
All
I think
right.
that's all I have. I think that's all I have today. That was just a
I
quick
think
one,
that's a
wasn't
good
it?
wrap up. See you guys later.
All right, bye guys. Have a good one. Bye.